Hello everyone. So the next topic which we will be studying is about the eye, the human eye. So what is human eye? So human eye, it is one of the most important sense organ that humans have. What is the function of the eye? The function is to it help us to visualize the object and also help us in light perception, color and depth perception. So let's start with it. So this is the main function of the human eye. Besides the sense organ, the human eye is considered as a sense organ. They help us see objects when light coming from outside enters into them. So what it does, it forms an image. It basically forms an image on the retina and gives us the clear picture that what we are visualizing. It is quite interesting to understand the structure and working of the human eye. So let's start with the structure of the human eye. So a human eye is roughly about 2.3 centimeters in diameter and is almost a spherical ball filled with some fluid. So it is a spherical ball which is filled with the fluid. Now, this is the structure of the eye as you can see here. So these are all the important labelings which a human eye consists of. So there is an optic nerve, there is a retina on which the image is being formed, there is a lens, then pupil, iris. So we will be studying all these functions in detail. So let's start with the different parts of the human eye. So these are some of the different parts of the human eye. Now what are these? Sclera. So what is this? It is the outer covering or a protective tough white layer which is called as the sclera. So what is it? It is the white part of the white layer of the or white part of the eye. If I talk about the cornea, it is the front transparent part of the sclera which is called as the cornea, and here the light enters the eye through the cornea. So from where the light will enter through the cornea. Iris. If I talk about iris here, then it is a dark muscular tissue and ring-like structure which is behind the cornea, and this is known as the iris. So the color of the iris actually indicates the color of the eye. So the color of the iris will depict the color of the eye. So this helps to regulate or adjust exposure by adjusting the iris. Next is the pupil. What is pupil? Pupil is a small opening. Pupil is a small opening in the iris and this is known as pupil. Its size is controlled by the help of the iris. So there is the pupil will increase or decrease its size. It is the contraction and the relaxation which is being controlled by the help of the iris. So it controls the amount of light entering the eye. So what it does, it controls the light that is being entering the eye. Next is the lens. So in the diagrammatic representation, we have seen that there was a lens. So the lens was being described here. So behind the pupil, there is a transparent structure which is called as the lens. So by the action of the ciliary muscles, it changes its shape to focus light on the retina. It becomes thinner to focus distant object and it becomes thicker to focus the nearby objects. The next we will talk about is the retina. So retina, it is a light sensitive layer that consists of numerous nerve cells. What is the function here? The function of the retina is to convert the images formed by the lens into electrical impulses. Now these electrical impulses, they are then transmitted to the brain through the optic nerve. Now what is optic nerve here? So the optic nerve, they have been divided further into two parts, that is the rods and the cones. Now what are rods and cones? So cones, if I talk about the cones, they are the nerve cells that are more sensitive to bright light. So if I talk about cones, they are more sensitive to bright light, and they help in detailed central and color vision. So they help in detailed central color vision. Whereas if I talk about rods is just the opposite. It is the optic nerve cells that are more sensitive to dim light. So the rods, they are more sensitive to dim light, and they help in peripheral vision. So they help in the peripheral vision. Now there is a term which is also called as a blind spot. So what is the blind spot? So at the junction of the optic nerve and retina, there is no sensory nerve cells. So there is no vision which is being formed, and that is why that is known as the blind spot. So this is the blind spot. Now, how does this eye function? What is the working of the human eye? So as in the diagrammatic represent, you can see that there is a bee from where the eye will see the bee, and on the retina. So this is the retina. On the retina, there is a opposite image which is being formed. So what are the steps here? So first of all, the light focuses mainly on the cornea, which acts like a camera lens. So the image will first mainly focus on the cornea part, and then it acts like a camera lens. Now, there is a role of iris which comes in. What the iris does is, when the light is focusing on camera, iris controls the light that reaches the eye by adjusting the size of the pupil. So, here the size of the pupil will be adjusted, and thus it functions like the diaphragm of a camera. The lens of the eye is located, the lens, so you can see that this is the lens. The transparent sheet is the lens. So the lens of the eye is located behind the pupil. So it is being located behind the pupil, and it focuses light, and this lens helps the eye to automatically focus on near and distant objects, and also the approaching objects like an autofocus camera lens. So the eye functions exactly like the camera lens. So it will autofocus it, and then it will give the image. So now comes the cornea. So the cornea and lens, they will focus light to reach the retina, which is a light sensitive zone present on the inner lining of the back of the eye. Now, here I was telling you about this retina. The retina, it converts the optical illusion images into electrical signals, and thus it acts as an electronic image sensor of the digital camera. So these electric signals, they are transmitted by the optic nerve to the visual cortex, which is responsible for the sense of sight. So the image has been formed here, that will go through the optic nerves, that will go to the brain, and there will be a sense of sight which we see. So the images we see are in the straight form, but in the retina it has been formed in the opposite form. Now, what are the functions of the eye? So human eyes, they are specialized sense organs. So human eye is considered as a sense organ, which is capable of receiving visual images, thereby producing the sense of sight. So if if in simple terms I want to tell you the function of the eye, then it will give the visual of the objects, or it will help us to see. Now the eye receives direct oxygen through the aqueous humor. So the aqueous humor, it nourishes the human lens and the iris by carrying the nutrients, waste materials excreted by the lens, and maintaining the shape of the lens. So it will also helps in the maintaining the shape of the lens. Now what is the aqueous humor responsible for? Aqueous humor is responsible for the shape of the eye, and it must be clear to function properly. So that must be clear to function properly. So this is the function of the human eye. Now there are some facts about the human eye, that a human eye is blind for about 40 minutes every day. So it is blind for about 40 minutes every day. This is because of the sclerotic masking. Now what is it? It is a way for the body to reduce the motion, blur, while the objects in eye move. So this is a way to reduce the motion. And 20 by 20 is a normal vision, but it is not the perfect vision. It is not considered as a perfect vision, but it is considered as a normal vision. If it means if a normal person can see an object at a distance of 20 feet, the test object can also see the object at 20 feet. So this is the meaning of 20 by 20 as a normal vision. So these were some of the facts about the human eye. These are some of the references. This was all about the human eye. Thank you.